What's up, guys? Welcome to DevKit Weekly, where this week we'll be reviewing and raffling this Exo Sense Pi from Sfera Labs. So this is the second Sfera Labs kit we've reviewed on DevKit Weekly, and its name kind of gives a lot away. The Exo Sense Pi is designed around a Raspberry Pi 4 compute module, which features a 64-bit quad-core Arm Cortex-A72-based BCM2711 applications processor from Broadcom, a choice of DDR4 SDRAM and eMMC flash capacities, and an optional 2.45 GHz wireless antenna. The Exo Sense Pi limits those options somewhat, as all versions of the platform are equipped with wireless and 1 GB or 2 GB of RAM, and SKUs with either 8 GB, 16 GB, or 0 GB of eMMC flash, the 0 GB version known as the Lite SKU. So that's what makes the Exo Sense Pi similar to Raspberry Pis, but what makes it different from pretty much all Raspberry Pis is that it's ready for deployment in indoor residential and commercial applications like asset tracking, environmental monitoring, access and voice control, and more. That's made possible by this 80mm by 80mm ABS housing, which you can mount on a wall, as well as a cornucopia of sensors. These include integrated Sensirion temperature, humidity, and air quality sensors, TI ambient light sensor, Panasonic PIR motion sensor, and a TDK microphone, all of which are located on this carrier board that houses the Raspberry Pi 4 compute module as well. There's also a piezoelectric buzzer and LED, and an optional earthquake sensor module can also be added. So all these sensors channel data to the Raspberry Pi 4 over 2 digital single-wire I2C inputs, which are accessible from the outside to users via fast snap-in terminal blocks, which you can see here. There's also serial communication over an ESD-protected RS485 bus that interfaces with the Raspberry Pi's UARTs, while an overcurrent and short-circuit protected open collector output carries a maximum current of 100 milliamps. Also on board, you'll find a micro SD card slot and this hidden micro USB socket that you can use to flash the Raspberry Pi's eMMC if you have a version with eMMC. And speaking of options, there's also another one on the connectivity front in the form of an external 10100 megabit per second Ethernet interface with DOE support. Of course, though, that's not on this particular version. But as we hinted at previously, the Raspberry Pi 4 compute module's onboard RF antenna enables Bluetooth 5.0 and 802.11b, G, and an AC Wi-Fi, so you can capture all of that data and send it somewhere that you can do something with it. It's also compliant with the eMMC standard, passing emissions testing for use in residential environments, and standing up to the immunity requirements of industrial settings as well. Also on board the carrier, you'll find some additional components that help make the Exo Sense Pi deployable in IoT use cases beyond the lab, including a microchip AT-ECC608A secure element that functions as a cryptographic coprocessor with hardware-based key storage. A microchip real-time clock chip, which is nestled here underneath the PIR sensor and connected to this lithium battery, is also supported by the Raspberry Pi OS natively, so you can keep everything nice and deterministic. The Exo Sense Pi accepts 9 to 28 volts DC power supply with surge and reverse polarity protection, and it only consumes 210 milliamps at 100% CPU load with Wi-Fi active. If you ask me, that's pretty efficient. Of course, on the tools front, you don't really need to look much further than the Raspberry Pi ecosystem, which, of course, gives you all you could need when you're developing on the Exo Sense Pi. So it's pretty impressive that you can get all of that from something that was made for makers and hobbyists and students, right? And thanks to all those robustness and reliability features that Sfera Labs has built into the Exo Sense Pi, you even get a 1-year warranty with the kit. However, it's not free, and it's not even as inexpensive as a Raspberry Pi, but how could it be? An Exo Sense Pi will set you back 245 euros or around $290 US at the moment, plus tax. Except for one. There is one free one, and it's in my left hand. If you entered this week's raffle, which is linked to on the screen and in the description below, you'll have a chance to win this one. Well, that's it for this week's Dev Kit Weekly. We hope that whether or not you win the Exo Sense Pi, that you're able to put low-cost kits like this one to great use in IoT and other embedded applications. And that's whether it's just a prototyping platform or actually capable of deployment. Thanks for watching, good luck in the raffle, and we'll see you next week on Dev Kit Weekly.